So, as you guys know, a few days ago, we talked about this situation with Stephen A. Smith, him basically capitulating to Trump. And we know that Higher Learning, Van Lathan, and Rachel Lindsay had a lot to say about it. Well, Stephen A. actually responded back, but Van and Rachel, they called him out again on his BS because this man is still lying. Let's go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it, you guys. You ready? Even though we caught Stephen A. Smith in 4K basically capitulating, he's saying, no, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying was, let's just go ahead and take a listen right now. You ready?
Literally, as we speak, Stephen A. Smith responded to some of the things that we had to say on Higher Learning last week. And we met him in criticism before. Respectful criticism, but we met him in criticism before. So we want to make sure that our audience listens to what he had to say, give him his say, and we'll respond to that in kind. He responded to our criticism of Stephen A. Smith's saying, act accordingly. This is what he said. The people that you've respected, that's me talking. The way they reacted to the American political reality, they never acted accordingly.
Lies, respectfully, because I like Van Lathan and I respect that brother. But that's not true. Martin Luther King adapted. Malcolm X adapted. Medgar Evers adapted. The list goes on and on and on. Look at the civil rights movement and some of the things that provoked it. Look at Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on a bus. That was planned and orchestrated because they recognized what kind of fallout would emanate from that, which would help spearhead the civil rights movement. Folks knew exactly what they were doing. They knew what they were up against, and they strategized. That's all I meant, Van. Adapting doesn't mean capitulating. It doesn't mean surrendering. It doesn't mean tolerating quietly with no resistance whatsoever. The shrapnel of bigotry, racism, or anything else that might come our way. It means strategizing and operating accordingly. That's how you win. That's how things get done. When I brought up Kimmel, why did I bring it up? Because he works at Disney. And by the way, most of y'all out there speculate about Disney. I have worked for Disney for 23 years. You're guessing. I know.
He's basically saying, Massa pay me good. Don't talk about Massa. That's what he's saying. But on top of that, mind you, this is not what he said during that interview on CNN. And what I liked about them is that they actually do play that clip. So we'll get into that. But just remember what he's saying now. He wants to add more context to what he's saying.
Oh. And I'm an on-air talent under the Disney umbrella. Who knows? ABC has local affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair with tens of stations around the country, soon to be hundreds, if not there already, that can pile over 22% of the television market. Late nights already losing money across the board, across the business. And the local affiliates ultimately are going to raise hell because of the monologue that Jimmy Kimmel gave that particular moment.
6.2.
Your ABC, you know it. They yank you from the air as everybody point the finger at ABC. ABC brought Jimmy Kimmel back last night. The Nexstar, the Sinclair, in places like St. Louis, New Orleans, and beyond. Is he seen there? Didn't he acknowledge in his opening monologue that 22% of the markets, if not more, are not airing his show? You think that equates to less money or more money? And if it equates to less money, how are people going to get paid? See, we want to chirp. We want to talk. We don't want to look at what the situation truly is and how to strategize to maneuver our way through it. Instead of bitching and moaning all the time, how about folks standing up and strategizing so the Dems can win the midterms? And the Dems could have somebody to go up against a J.D. Vance or Marco.
Here's the thing. That's two different conversations. Like how we go from talking about Jimmy to the Democrats need to do this to civil rights. And here's the thing. Stephen A. Smith didn't speak to the actual joke that Jimmy Kimmel was talking about. Jimmy Kimmel literally was talking about or making fun of Trump's lack of empathy he showed his friend, Charlie Kirk. They asked him about how he was holding up after Charlie Kirk's death. He go like, "Oh, look at the beautiful rose garden that we have. You know, look over here. We're doing the construction on that stupid dining hall or whatever that they building at the White House." He was calling out that. So Stephen A. Smith is arguing a point that's not even valid because that has nothing to do with the situation that happened. Good strategizing, organizing, and That has nothing to do with shit.
Rubio, or dare I say, a Governor DeSantis in Florida come 2028, assuming Trump doesn't circumvent the 22nd Amendment and tries to run for a third term. But far be it for Stephen A. to bring that up and to say, let's talk about strategy. Instead, everybody want to complain and just complain. Trump don't care. He's going to do what he's going to do. What are you going to do?
Stephen A. is saying that, so he said a lot. So Stephen A. is saying that what he was talking about was not capitulating. So this is what we're going to do real quick. I'm going to respond to it, but let's play what Stephen A. said initially again. It wasn't in the clip that went out, but it was in the show. Let's play what Stephen A. said initially again. Donnie, play not what he was on with Laura Coates, but the initial thing that he said about Jimmy Kimmel and all that. Play that again.
My only issue with Jimmy Kimmel and this whole brouhaha he finds himself inflamed with.
Sound is kind of low.
It's not that, oh my God, you can't say a joke. I am incredibly alarmed by what appears to be our First Amendment right to being attacked. This is what I do for a living. I don't like that. But you know he's coming. And you know part of the reason why is to get back at everybody who tried to take him down. They didn't try to keep him out of the White House and that was it. They tried to throw him in prison. The man is coming. And you have to adjust accordingly. Nexstar has to adjust. All these broadcast corporations have to adjust. Madison Avenue has to adjust. Wall Street has to adjust. Corporate America has to adjust. China's had to.
So basically, change the way that you do things because you know he's coming. And if you don't get in line, then hey, that's your ass. That's basically what he's saying. That is capitulating. When you totally are giving in to the establishment, mind you, wasn't just about 6 months ago we were anti-establishment. Now everybody's for the establishment. So we all need to get in line. What happened to freedom of speech, freedom of press? What happened to those things?
To adjust. Mexico has had to adjust. France, England, Germany, everybody has to make an adjustment. It's the real world. I don't like it. I'm alarmed by it. I'm scared of it. But I have to march forward, as do all of you. That's what I was saying about Jimmy Kimmel. That's what I'd say about Stephen Colbert or anybody else. Part of winning the game is knowing the game you're playing and adjusting accordingly to ensure that when all is said and done, you come out on top.
Okay, so let's talk about two different things. In his response to me, Stephen A. Smith talked about the fact that I said that King and X and Evers and all of those people did not act accordingly. What I said was that they met a moment. And let me explain to people what I'm talking about there. Is everything that Stephen A. Smith said that they did, if you're talking about the Montgomery bus boycott, which he referenced when he was talking about Rosa Parks, that was intention to be disruptive. The intention there was to shut down the bus system of Montgomery because Black people couldn't ride the bus. So their intention there was to be disruptive. That's the intention. Malcolm X's intent, the strategy, was to be disruptive. Not covertly disruptive, outwardly disruptive. Look into the video scope. Tell America about itself. On the backside, have economic and social and cultural capital with your people that you can fall back on. With the Montgomery bus boycott. Be intentionally and overtly disruptive. But what they could fall back on was the fact that if they weren't going to ride the bus to work, then they would carpool, they would walk, they would ride bikes. Whether or not we're marching across the bridge, we're disrupting things overtly so people can see that we are standing up to the times that we are in. That's what we're doing.
And let's not forget, they were hosed down, bitten by dogs, beaten, killed even for what they stood up for. So yeah, it was very overt. It was in your face, and they were trying to be disruptive because they wanted change. Change doesn't come when you're silent. Come on now.
We are protecting each other by our organizing. We're protecting each other by how we're showing up for one another. That's what we're doing. We're not in any way not being loud obvious and directly confrontational with the power systems that are trying to keep us down. We are not snaking around the drain of white supremacy. We're ripping the plumbing out is what we're doing. But when we're organizing to protect each other, to make sure that you can still get to work, to make sure that you get bailed out of jail, to make sure that when you are put through the pain of revolution, that there is a community there that will protect you. That's how they acted. That's how they met the moment, which is what I said. That's what they did. There's no way to look at what Stephen A. just said when we played it and say that that's what he was talking about. There's just no way to do that. Definitely. And the reason why we interpret it like that, and Laura Coates interpreted it like that, and everybody else, including some of the people that Stephen A. Smith works with, I know people too, brother. The reason why they didn't interpret it like that is because that's not what you said. That he didn't say that at all. And by the way, had he meant that, then he should have been more clear, because I didn't hear any way that free speech or any of those things should be, I didn't hear any strategy.
And let's be clear, if he was clear, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right?
From Stephen A. Smith in combating the president in his wrath and his subversion of the First Amendment. I didn't hear him say, this is what you need to do. I didn't hear him say, this is how we get, I didn't hear any of that. I heard what a lot of other people heard was, the president is mad. He's not just mad at the people on the left here. He's not just mad at the political establishment here or rhinos. He's mad at all these other types of countries, and react, adjust, and comport yourself accordingly.
To me, I'm going to give him a little bit, okay? I'm going to give him a little bit from that clip, what he said on his new show. Move accordingly. Okay, open to interpretation, right? Then you go on Laura Coates' show. And I think this is the missing link. So when I heard his response to you, I thought, nah, you don't get to do that. Because what Laura Coates brilliantly did was made you clarify what operate accordingly meant. She specifically asked you, she said, now, wait a minute. Does that mean I'm not going to lay down and take it? I'm not going to lay down and acquiesce. And she said, or do you mean I'm not to move under the radar? And then she goes on to say, because this is who I've known you to be throughout your career. You're unapologetic. You don't hold any punches. And then she says, is this different? And his answer was, yes.
Play it.
I am fair and balanced. There's no misinterpreting what he meant.
Donnie?
For certain.
And here's the thing. I don't think necessarily Stephen A. Smith is fair and balanced. He understands a click and a view. He understands that, even though he considers himself an independent, he is going on a show representing Democrats. They have him like, oh, well, you're a Democrat. That's what he'd be like, oh, no, I'm an independent. But they got him on there to criticize Democrats. If he was criticizing Trump, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't even have a voice in politics. I guarantee you. He would just be another black dude talking against Republicans. That's what he would be. But because he significantly targets Democrats and goes after them, they love him. He knows what he's doing.
Severe critics of him. The man is coming. He's not playing around. He's unapologetic about the retribution he's willing to exact against anybody he deems harmful to his ego, his psyche, his presidency, in his own way that he may choose to materialize it.
But what does that mean then? Hold on. I want you to, but you said know this and operate accordingly. Describe though, because when you say operate accordingly, you can on the one hand know this, and the response can be, and I'm not going to lay down and take it. I'm not going to stand aside and allow and acquiesce. The other side is move accordingly, sort of under the radar in some way. How are you defining operate accordingly? Because I know from just hearing you and following your whole career, you are somebody who's been unapologetic about speaking your mind, having even unpopular opinions, and not pulling any punches. So is this different than that?
That's true. Yeah, because I'm fair and balanced. I'm not one-sided, and I'm not directing my eye at one individual consistently since 2015. That's not the kind of behavior I choose to engage in. Even people that I don't like, that I've been on the record stating I don't like, I still remain fair and balanced. When they deserve to be complimented, I say so. I don't avoid complimenting them just because I may not like them. And when they deserve to be criticized, I don't hesitate to do so.
If you were going to say it, you would have said it. She specifically asked you would have said it right then and there. And you go into this whole other diatribe about fair and balance. Now, if you want to come back, it feels like you're trying to correct what you said before.
I'm going to say two things, and these are actually things that are not about the issue. These are directed definitely to Stephen A. Smith.
What are you going to do?
All of this moving under the radar, we're doing that. Like, that's something that we're doing. We're talking to people. We're getting out there and organizing with people. Not with everyone. Not with every group that's asked me to organize. There are people that have asked me to come to stuff, and I'll be like, nah, that's not for me. But there are other times that we are doing work. We are doing work with some groups to get people on this podcast to talk about things. Like, we're having these conversations. We're doing this stuff. And a lot of times, those people don't want to sit on this podcast, look into a camera and have a conversation about it. They don't want to do that because it puts them in harm's way. A lot of times, what they say is, Van, Rachel, Donnie, Ashley, can you talk about this? Can you try to discuss this? And we do it.
And I want to say shout out to my AT tubers, because we have our own little community where we talk about a lot of this stuff, and just getting to hear y'all perspective and how y'all been rocking with me since I've been talking about these political, social issues. It really means a lot to me. And y'all give me suggestions on things to talk about. So shout out to y'all. Let them finish.
To the best of our ability. Ain't no $100 million in that. It's not worth $100 million. That's not what's in that. And it's not charity either. It's the interest of a specific political thrust that you are into. Nobody needs to be lionized or have a gold medal put around their neck. We're literally just doing what we can do. Like, we're doing what we can do. That's what we're doing. We're not, ain't nobody like, ain't no leading no marches, no Negroes. Nobody needs to build no statues. We're doing what we can do. But there are people who are doing this. There are people who are in their spare time when they can. They are trying to be interested in furthering a conversation about the conditions of people in this country. There are people that are doing that. They're doing it all the time. And when we get on the podcast or get in front of the mic, we not fucking whining. How dare you? Ain't nobody whining. I'm talking to you about what they talking to me about. And I'm talking to you about what they talking to me about because they asked me to. They told me to talk to you. They told me, Van, they don't listen to us. They told me, Van, they can't hear us. But for whatever reason, because you one day at one place in one instance talk to a fucking rapper that lost his fucking mind, they might listen to you. Will you speak with us? And I say, yeah. I'm going to speak if I can. If I can get it out in a way that I'm going to talk for you, I'm going to be, yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to do that for you. We're not going to always agree. We're not going to always be on the same page. But if you ask me for a hand, I'm going to say, yeah, brother, yeah, sister, let's get to it. And I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail sometimes. I'm toxic and all fucked up. And I got the same wiring that everybody else has.
And it's okay to fail. At least you're putting yourself out there. At least you're trying to do something, right?
No different. No different. So I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to get it wrong. But if anybody is on here thinking that I want to whine my way. No, I don't want to whine. I'm talking to people that tell me, man, we need somebody to talk. If you don't believe me, go ask them.
What are you going to do?
I will end it in saying this. This entire thing. A lot of people might be asking, why is this important? Like, why is this back and forth? Why does this even matter? Because we're defining intentionality here. We're defining what it means in this moment to be who we are. And that definition is going to be different to some people. To me, I'm going to very clearly define what it is that I'm talking about. What I'm saying is there is a portion of American power right now that is very overtly ripping into the systems, the norms, and the culture of the country and grabbing power. You can't take your power back in secret or in silence. It's impossible. It's never been done. It never will be done. The people that started this fucking country didn't do it that way. They said, you don't let us vote, we'll take your tea, we'll throw it in the fucking harbor, come get it. That's what they said. And then they put something on the line in order to assert themselves. And all of the slave-owning, fat cat, hypocritical ways that they were. They said, our freedom is worth a fight. However that fight plays out, our freedom is worth a fight. And I'm very directly and unambiguously saying that to you guys. I'm saying your freedom is worth a fight. And just like I told you on the last podcast, everybody has different jobs. Everyone. If you are not out in the street, don't feel bad that you're not out in the street, because you can support those who are. If you feel bad that you don't have a big, ginormous platform, don't feel bad about that. You can support those who are, or you can start your platform and draw people in. If you feel bad that you're not running for office, that you're not out there, but don't feel bad, just vote. You can do small things to be a part of change. Small things.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you can do, that's the easiest thing to do, is just say no. On some Nancy Reagan shit. Just say no. Just say violation of due process, no. Just say violation of the First Amendment, no. Just say violation of people's rights, inalienable rights in this country, no. No. We're not for it. We're not with it. We're not supporting it. Quick.
And, you know, the part about this is that, you know, not all of us are going to be revolutionary. Not all of us is going to be Malcolm X, Dr. King, Rosa Parks. Like, not all of us have that job, right? Because at the end of the day, we got to work, we got kids, family to take care of, whatnot, right? However, just you saying no, you supporting people, or you even using your platform to say something is helping. Believe it or not. I know we have a lot of social media warriors out there that feel like they're the top notch and they know everything. I don't claim to know everything, but the stuff that I do know, I do share with you guys, and I use my platform correctly, or at least I feel like I do. So at the end of the day, I feel like we're at the point in this country where the norms have changed, and no longer can we just sit down and just take what's being given to us. We got to fight back. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate every single one of y'all for being here. And let me know what you thought of the show. Please go ahead and leave a comment down. And, you know, definitely I like to discuss this more with you guys. Love y'all. We out of here. Deuces, everybody.